We go to the United States now, where Democratic vice presidential nominee Kamala Harris has had to pause her travel plans after one of her staff members contracted the COVID-19 coronavirus. In a statement, her team says that Harris was last tested yesterday and the test came back negative. But her communications director, Liz Allen, tested positive for the virus. Harris had planned an aggressive travel schedule in the run-up to the November elections. She was scheduled to appear in North Carolina today, a competitive battleground state where early voting just commenced. Well, later today, presidential candidates Joe Biden and President Donald Trump will field questions from voters in two different televised events. Their town halls will take place at the same time in the slot that was scheduled for the second presidential debate, which was cancelled. Trump pulled out of the event when it was changed to a virtual format after he was diagnosed with COVID-19. He will address supporters in Miami, whilst Biden will be holding his town hall in Philadelphia, both key battleground locations. Well, for more on this, we're now joined by our Washington correspondent, Kate Fisher. Thanks so much, Kate, for joining us. So we were looking forward to another debate, not sure what was going to come out of it, but the COVID-19 really put paid to that, and so a different format today.
Absolutely, and this has all really just changed in the last few hours. Yes, we were before Donald Trump contracted coronavirus, expecting to have a repeat of the first presidential debate where Mr. Biden and Mr. Trump were on the same stage, debating each other in prime time. But Donald Trump, the commission that organises these debates said we're not going to have it in person. It's not safe given the president's health. We'll have a virtual debate. President Trump said absolutely not. I won't be taking part in a virtual debate because I don't want someone else in charge of my microphone, and I won't do it unless it's in person. So it was cancelled. ABC News, a network here in the US, offered to host a town hall with Joe Biden at the same time this evening. So Joe Biden accepted, and then suddenly today, NBC News have said that they are going to host a rival town hall with President Trump, broadcasting at the same time, but on a different channel. So this is a first. Instead of a face-to-face debate, there are going to be two separate town halls, so viewers can choose whether they want to see Joe Biden talking to voters or Donald Trump speaking to voters. So it's almost kind of a ratings war. But of course, these town halls tend to be not such good spectacle for those of us watching, because it is just one candidate on their own speaking. So perhaps there will be less viewers overall, because then they're not going to get to see those back and forths, which can be more entertaining.
Tell us about these town halls. I mean, are they genuine, or is Donald Trump going to pack his with party faithful and Joe Biden perhaps do the same? In which case, then, what are we watching?
Well, in theory, that shouldn't be the case, because they are organised and produced by the networks, ABC and NBC, who should be impartial, and they will want, I imagine, because it makes better television, to have people with different political views in the audience. So we are expecting them to be not just all Joe Biden supporters and all Donald Trump supporters, but people who genuinely want to ask these candidates questions. For example, Donald Trump did do a town hall a couple of weeks ago on a different channel, and he was asked in that by several different voters more difficult questions for him, particularly things about healthcare. One of the things he's trying to do is overturn President Obama's healthcare plan. And one of the people in the audience was very worried about their medical insurance and was asking him questions about that, which were difficult questions for him to answer. So there is a hope that there will be a wide range of people with a wide range of viewpoints in these audiences.
All right. I suppose key talking points must be COVID-19, and the numbers are ticking up in America. We've got a president talking about herd immunity, and the scientists saying that this is murder.
Yeah, this is going, as much as Donald Trump would not want this, the main conversation to be about the coronavirus. It is. And that is because the numbers are going up in this country, and just about everybody either knows somebody who's had it or has had some other effect, be it that their children can't go to school or they've lost their job. So it really does affect everybody, and all the polling suggests that most people think that Donald Trump's done a very bad job of trying to manage this crisis, and it is not doing his poll numbers any good at all. So he'd rather be talking about other things than coronavirus, but of course it is the central question here because it affects literally every single American, and it affected him. He is talking about it in a sense in his rallies by kind of boasting. When he gets on the stage, he's saying, look, hey, I've had it, I got over it, I'm really strong and you'll get over it too, and there's nothing to worry about. He even said in his rally today, don't worry, this is going to peter out, it's not a problem. Which of course goes against all the public health advice and the epidemiologists that we hear from, not just in the US, but across the world. So he's continuing to push that message, even though it is not resonating with voters, because he's actually losing voters over this. And it seems a majority of voters prefer the way that Joe Biden is dealing with this, which is always wearing a mask, holding small events with people who are socially distanced. And at the moment, and we're close, but we're still a few weeks away from voting day, that is benefiting Joe Biden in the polls and disadvantaging Donald Trump.
All right, and I guess with COVID-19, Kamala Harris has had to put a stop to some of her travel plans, which come at a critical time.
Absolutely, it just shows that this is affecting everybody, the president himself, the Democratic presidential team as well. Kamala Harris, but she is not infected as far as we know. She's tested negative. She has not been in contact with the people that have been infected yet. She is still taking herself out of travel for the next few days in an abundance of caution, her team said. And yes, it is an important time. She will want to be out there on the campaign trail. So it is frustrating for her. But as I said, the Joe Biden team message is that they are taking this very seriously. They will take all the precautions necessary to protect themselves and the public. And so this just plays into that message for them, as frustrating as it is for her that she won't be able to campaign until at least Sunday, she said.
All right, and the other issue that's been in front centre this week is the Senate confirmation of the new Supreme Court justice. And I guess it's a foregone conclusion it will happen, but it's really now turning to become an election point for the Democrats.
Yeah, that's right. Because it's essentially a done deal, there is very little Democrats can do to prevent this, because they simply don't have enough votes in the Senate to block her confirmation. So instead, what you've seen during these Senate hearings over the past few days on Capitol Hill is that the Democrats have used it as an opportunity to sell their election message. They know that they probably can't make a difference to the judicial arm of the government, so they're trying to use this time to try to get a change in the executive, that's the president. So they are talking about things like healthcare, something that they know resonates with voters, reminding voters that if the Republicans are in charge, then their healthcare, their health insurance, their Obamacare is at risk, and they may end up not getting the cheap or free healthcare that they're benefiting from at the moment. So that has been a key message for the Democrats in that hearing room. They know that they have very little chance of persuading any Republican senators to vote against this. It's essentially a done deal. So instead, they're using their time to once again tell the American people through this medium of a Senate confirmation hearing about what is at stake in this election, and about how they believe that the Democrats are the people to vote for and not the Republicans. So yes, it's about confirming a justice to the Supreme Court, but actually for Democrats, it's been a lot about trying to get an electoral message out to the American people.
How is Coney Barrett doing?
Yes, she has been generally, the general consensus is she's been dealing with the questions very well. She's kept calm, she's kept poised, she has not flustered at all, yet she has evaded just about every key issue. Senators have tried to pin her down on things like what she will do about abortion rights, which is another big concern for Democrats because she is very much pro-life and they're concerned about changes to the abortion rights in the United States. She hasn't given any indication of the way she would vote on that. And they've also asked her about things about if the election results end up in the Supreme Court or if President Trump tries to issue himself a pardon, and she has essentially sidestepped all these very difficult questions without giving the senators or the American people a clear steer on the way she would vote on any cases involving these matters that come up before her on the Supreme Court.
All right, and perhaps as a final question, I know the answer already. It's not going to affect the vote, but I suppose it just cements for the viewers perhaps what they were feeling already, but very few will be dissuaded one way or the other after these town halls.
Yeah, that's right. This election, certainly when it comes to Donald Trump's support, his supporters are loyal through and through. It's those slim margins on the sides of perhaps more moderate Republicans that the Democrats think they can persuade over to Joe Biden, those Republicans who have been concerned by the way the president has dealt with the coronavirus pandemic. Also, there's a lot of talk of suburban women, that is, women who live in the suburbs. A lot of them voted for Donald Trump in 2016 or didn't vote at all. And Joe Biden is trying to get them out to the polls and persuade those of them that are, again, upset by the way Donald Trump has dealt with the coronavirus to vote for Joe Biden instead. And there's also the black community. They didn't turn out for Hillary Clinton in very large numbers in 2016. The hope is that they will vote for Joe Biden.
All right, Kate, we'll leave it there. Let's see who wins the ratings war this evening and on those different channels. It'll be interesting to talk about. Have a good evening. Thanks. All right, that's our Washington correspondent, Kate Fisher, talking to us from the American Capitol ahead of those two town halls that are taking place this evening. Joe Biden in one city and, of course, Donald Trump in another. It'll be interesting to see how those play out.